girl, Alicia Gaucher Page, and you have joined the Real Autism Podcast, where we share relevant, effective, actionable living strategies and solutions. I am an autism mom of two, Jasmine and Coleman, and I am here to help my autism caregivers manage stress and the journey of autism for a better quality of life. So today I'm excited to have my guest. She is my soror, as well as, okay, you got to throw it up on the podcast. She is also a minister at my church as well, and just a good friend. And so, one of the things about my framework when it comes to autism coaching, the first layer for me is mindset, mental strength, and resiliency. I think that is important for caregivers to have, particularly when they get that diagnosis. You have a lot of emotions, denial, blaming yourself, anger, sad, depressed. And with all of that, a lot of times we jump out of that and we go straight into understanding autism. What therapies do they need to do? What's the plan? Like, what do I have to do? So I think the point of this discussion is I want to zoom in on how do we strengthen our mindset as a caregiver? How do we prepare for the ebbs and flows that we're going to go through on this journey? Because as another one of my guests said in a previous podcast, being the parent of someone on the spectrum, it ain't for no punks. You
Wow. Wow.
can't be a punk, right?
Can't be a pause.
Can't be a punk. So, with that being said, I know for my journey, I've had to center myself, and I am a Christian, and
Yeah.
so I had to connect with the Holy Spirit to help guide me through this process. So I've asked my friend to join us and to just talk to us about how can we go through this process? How can we connect or center ourselves? So Kristen, welcome to the
Yes,
show.
thank you so much, for having me this evening. And yes, this is going to be an awesome conversation. And I just want to thank you so much for just thinking of me and for God laying, thank God for the opportunity and laying me on your heart. And so as we chat tonight, while I don't have the same journey as you, I am a mom. And as we talk tonight, I love how you said, well, let's talk about getting back to
The core.
the
Yep.
core of me. Like, who am I? And I think also, well, I'm gonna talk as motherhood, but also fathers who are listening in as well. As moms or as parents, but I'm focused on mommies. Sometimes we can lose ourselves, right? The best thing that we have, I do not shirk my responsibilities of being a mother. It is so awesome, right? However, I love how we're focusing on tonight of getting back to the core, getting back who am I? Who is she? Who is he? And as we talk about getting to the core, as we chat tonight, there's an acronym that I have that spells rest, REST. And this big movement, I don't know why it's a movement, right? And when I say rest today, I don't necessarily mean taking a nap, but that is a part of it, right? That is a part of it. But rest, REST, I want you to also think about that. Rest is also ministry. Rest is ministry. Rest is unplugging. Rest is taking care of yourself as well as you're taking care of others. So I think tonight, as we have this conversation, we're going to be a little selfish, right? And selfish is not bad.
Right.
It's not always bad. It's not
And you
always
know
bad.
what? It's funny you say that because one, parents in general, but particularly caregivers of those with autism, we don't get a lot of rest.
Don't get a
Rest in
lot.
the sense of taking a nap, rest in the sense of self-care, because we don't make it a priority.
Right.
So the key, what you said, selfish, I never
Okay.
realized that you can use selfish in a positive sense, because when I used to
Right.
hear the word selfish, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm making it
Yeah.
all about me, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm not supposed to be doing that. But in the essence of this discussion, I really think it's important to be a little selfish. Like, what are your thoughts about just that word in general and what you mean by that?
Well, that's very good because you know what? We are taught to be selfless, right? Especially as women, especially as mommies. We're taught to be selfless. We probably saw our moms doing wonderful jobs, our grandmothers. We see the ladies in the community just doing everything. And guess what? They were doing it well. However, when we talk about being selfish, we don't always want to look at it in a negative connotation, making sure that I'm taking care of self. And we're also going to talk, as we're Christians, making sure that we're having what we need. Jesus went away to pray. He's like, let me go somewhere and get my time with my Lord. Okay, y'all go over there. You can sit down, you can sleep if you want to, but I'm gonna go and take care of me. And so that was an act that he had to do for himself. So, yes, we can, I think in this society that we live in, to be selfish is always a negative connotation. But it can have a dual life. Sure, yeah, we know people that are selfish and they won't share and things like that. But that's not what we're focusing on tonight. It's making sure that you're looking in and reflecting in. And we're going to talk also about having boundaries. And it's okay. It's okay to put you first.
Definitely. And
Mhm.
although, as you mentioned, you might not have the same journey as I do, I'm sure
Yes.
you have a personal story about how your faith helped you build mental strength during challenging times.
Yeah.
Can you share a story like that, and kind of
Yeah.
what you did? What did you implement rest, or how did you respond to it?
Mm, I did. I really did. I think, and guess what? Today is very special to me because today's August 12th. Today is would have been my dad's birthday. And my dad passed in 2008. And losing a parent, okay, that my world was totally rocked. So, rest. I had to really unplug. I had to really be selfish with me. I had to just sometimes just curl up and see what I needed. And guess what? At the time, I still had a young child. My daughter was about 6 at that time. So finding ways I couldn't totally just disappear on her, but I had to also take care of what I needed to do because I was grieving. So whether it was like going in just and taking a nap, figuring out how I'm feeling for the day, go in the room and have a good cry and allow myself to do that because it was a sure enough process. As losing a parent, remembering and allowing my space, giving myself space to remember my dad and to remember those things and allow tears to come when I'm standing in the supermarket looking at the bubble gum that he used to buy, right? And it's okay. It's really okay. Going through it was just not cool. But here's the thing, as I was going through, I couldn't pray. Couldn't pray.
Talk about that. Why is that?
I didn't have the words. I didn't have the words. I was so hurt. I was just so like, oh my goodness, he's gone. And what? Like this new normal, like, what do I do now? My dad is gone, right? I had no words. I couldn't pray. Sometimes all I could just say is help. I had to force myself to eat. maybe like an apple or something, because my body just I didn't have much of an appetite, right? So going through, I knew the Lord, I knew that he was in a better place. I had all of that down, right? It was, I understood that, but going through it, it was just like, I don't have no words. It was like, Lord Jesus, I know you're there, but I can't even pray right now. So that's where also when we talk about community, other folks at our time, our pastor, well, now Bishop Crenshaw, folks like that just came around me, that had been there and experienced a parent passing. They were able to kind of hold me up and say, okay, this how you're gonna feel, this what's gonna happen, and it's okay. It's okay. I eventually got back to praying, but I didn't have any words.
So you know what? I think you mentioned the word community, right?
Yeah,
I think that's like key, right? Having a
it is.
community, someone that can surround you. Sometimes the community includes people that have experienced it.
Yes,
Sometimes the community, they haven't experienced that specific situation, but they can empathize with you.
true.
And I think a lot of times when you experience hurt, you really want somebody to empathize with you. And I know as an autism caregiver, and I'm sure a lot of my fellow caregivers can relate to this, we feel so isolated because when you look
Mm,
at the people around you,
yeah,
your friends, they have neurotypical developing children. And here you are feeling alone and you tend to withdraw. At least that's what I did. I
surely.
withdrew and I kind of threw myself into work. And similar to what you said, I
Yeah,
really didn't have the words. Me going to God in prayer was not at the top of my list. And to be honest, that's because I was really angry, right? I tell
surely.
this story
Surely.
all the time about the emotion I felt, particularly when I had my second child, who
Mm,
also was on the spectrum. And I tell this story all the time. I'm sure people get tired of it, but it's
that's
important to
okay.
say that it was a pivotal moment for me when my mom said to me, Alicia, you were built for this. Look
That's
at
it.
your characteristics, the strengths you possess: organizing, advocating, not backing down,
Right.
attacking, getting it done. Imagine if Jasmine and Coleman would have been with someone else.
Somebody
So I,
else.
I
Yeah.
think the 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 thought that I would lead to my listeners is, as hard and difficult as this journey may be,
Hmm.
look at the strengths or the positives, because there are positives
There
that
are.
come out of this, right?
Yes.
I mean, how would you suggest that a caregiver like me find solace and strength through spiritual practices while they're going through all of this?
That's really good. One of the key things that I wanted to bring out when you were sharing, that is sharing what your mom told you, is to remember. And I like what how you were sharing what your mom told you. And what I mean by the remember in my rest, the R is for remember, is to remember that your child or children, our children, are blessings. And Psalm 127, I think it's Psalm 127 and 3. Psalm 127 and 3, it says, children are a heritage from the Lord. And it says that that the offspring, our offspring, right, are a reward from him. So remembering, even during those hard times, right, during those struggles, the challenges, the sicknesses, the doctor visits, right, remembering, even though it's hard, that wait a minute, my God says, didn't say that certain children, didn't say boys, girls, right? But Psalm 127:3 says children, right, are heritage from the Lord. They are reward. So excuse me, when we think about reward, right, we think about something we get, oh, this awesome prize. Maybe like, we found something and we found the killer, and then they give us $10 million or whatever. I wish it was, right? And they give us this big, pot of money for finding this person, and we're happy for the reward. And so we have to think that same thing that God says, not me, right? That children, all children, God didn't make any type of specifications. Their reward, they're a good thing. They are the apple of God's eye, but also with this reward, right? When we get that reward from the police department, whatever it is, it's something good. This is just like, ooh, priceless. And so that's the thing that I want us to remember. And also as we're sharing here as caregivers, that yes, while it is difficult, got to go back to the word. And as we're scratching our head, remember we said, sometimes I don't have no words, God. Sometimes I'm angry, God. Sometimes I'm wondering, God, why me? Why, what? And it's okay, because God can handle our questions. But in that hour, I want us to really pause and remember, what did God say about my child? That child, no matter what they came with, is a reward.
R is for remember. That's awesome. So talk to me about the E. What's the E about?
I love how we shared earlier when I was talking about going through the death of my dad, kind of had to pull back. E is establishing boundaries. And as you were sharing, sometimes you just can't go everywhere. Sometimes everybody is not your friend. Sometimes, guess what? This is the magical word that I like now. 50 just does something to you, right? No. It's a whole sentence. Nope, I'm not going. No, I will not be there. No, or whatever. And we don't need an explanation about why you're not going, or however you're feeling. It's okay. But making sure that you're establishing healthy boundaries, whether it's for yourself, because remember we talked about being selfish, or whether you're establishing those boundaries for your family, or for your children, right? Because it's, as mamas, we are protectors. We want to protect our babies. We have, I'm looking outside and we have fences, right, around our property, so that the animals don't get in, or so that other people don't get in. And it's okay to establish those lines in our lives to let people know that this is my safe space, and you're not invited in this place, whether it's a physical place or a mental space or whatever it is. You're not invited in this space, or maybe I will let you in that space at another time. But also, this establishing those boundaries also comes from discernment and knowing that no, I don't want to be over here, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's Kristen, that is a good one. And the reason why I say that is a good one, establishing boundaries, because oftentimes, for me, I'll give an example. I get anxiety when I have to go to a new environment with my children. I will say this, shout out to our church, right?
Yeah.
Sean Temple AME Zion Church, because that is a safe place and a safe haven for my children.
Yes.
And as you know, because they've been going there since they were
babies
born, right?
Yeah.
Jasmine has had meltdowns. Coleman will yell out, he'll stem, and he'll do all of those things, but I have never felt out of place. So that is the one place that I can go to and not really feel anxiety. But there have been times, if there's a family gathering or if there's a graduation and you have plans, well, we're going to go out to dinner, or, for Christmas, you go to this new church, kids are
Sure.
not familiar with, and you feel this pressure because folks, family, friends, they're saying, hey, we're going to this. I mean, are you
Right.
coming?
Right.
And then after that, it's okay, well, let's go do the next thing. Let's go eat. And in my head, I'm saying,
You're
I'm
already
not trying
thinking.
to, right. I'm not trying to be a party pooper,
Hmm.
but I just don't want to go. And then when you're in that position to say, well, no, to your point, I'm trying to give an explanation because I feel like I owe them an
Don't
explanation.
don't owe them an explanation. Protect your peace. And okay, you all are going to TGI Fridays. Okay, well, we will see you later. Well, I'll see you next week or whatever. And if you feel led to go, you'll go. But if you don't feel led to go to the restaurant and it just feels like on your heart, we're gonna have a quiet evening at home. You're gonna have a quiet evening at home. Nope is the only thing that you need to say.
I received that. That's definitely a good tip for my caregivers out there. So
Mhm.
what about S?
S is self-care. S stands for self-care. And as we were talking about being selfish, right? Now, I don't, and I won't say it's not just this, but yes, many times, right, when we hear self-care, I think like self-care is like this new buzzword. And it's not just massages, it's not just getting your nails done, it's not getting your lashes done. Although those things are wonderful, go get them done, right? Because they make us feel good. Or exercising and taking a walk. They are wonderful. But I want you to add on to the self-care. So that's the physical part. Because many times we focusing on, oh, I gotta work out, oh, I gotta do this, which is good. But what you're saying to yourself, how are you taking care of yourself? How do you talk to yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? Not just this, but what are you doing up here? And what I mean by that, how are you talking to yourself as a parent? What do you say to yourself when you see yourself in the mirror? That you're an awesome mother, or you blew it again today. You're never gonna get this right. Or look how you did this. Come on, we have to show ourselves grace. Show ourselves grace. Watch your self talk. That's what I mean by self care, in addition to the physical care, right? What do you say to yourself in the morning? And reminding ourselves, some people are into affirmations, whatever you into, but even if it's just words, or if you're remembering scripture, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, looking at yourself and saying that, this is a good work. God has done a good work in me. Because here's the thing, the things that we say, even if we don't say them verbally out loud about ourselves, become the soil in our heart. Right. So if I'm saying I'm just a bad mother, I'm a this, and I can never get this right. I can't cook and I can't that. Right. So that becomes that gets into the soil in our heart. So that starts to grow, and
Yeah.
then it starts to fester.
And then it takes you over mentally, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think self-care, to your point, we think a lot about how it affects us on the outer
Outside.
part,
Sure.
but we really don't think about how it affects us here and how it affects us here.
That's it.
So, from a self-care standpoint and mental strength, as a caregiver, when you first get that diagnosis, I think it's
Mm.
okay to just sit in it for a minute. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want to lull in the despair of the diagnosis, but I think we have to, as you talked about with your dad and when you were grieving, it's you're gonna have these reactions, the
Sure
outburst
will.
of a cry, the outburst of a scream, the withdrawal. And I think it's okay to take yourself through that because while that
Yeah.
happens initially, when you get the diagnosis, guess what? I'm 20 years into this thing.
Wow.
And I still have moments of despair where I may cry or I may get
Sure.
frustrated. But what I realize is I'm able to pull myself out of it much faster than I did when I received the
Before.
diagnosis 20 years ago, right? And I think part of that is I worked on my mindset. I worked on hearing positive things. So
Right.
one of the techniques or tools that I use that I would share with everybody is in the morning I may go on my YouTube and I may type in the search motivational speech or video
Good.
or a particular topic and I listen to it because to your point, I think the words that we feed our
That's
brain
right.
become a part of our mental, right?
That's it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll give you another example.
Mm-hmm.
I love hip hop. I love
Yes.
the beat, I love the music, but now hip hop to a degree has
Mm-hmm.
become a little
It's a little,
strong.
it's a little different.
It's a little different. It's not Tribe Called
It's
Quest.
not
You
our
know what I'm
80s and
saying?
90s, what we were listening
Right, right,
to.
right. It's not Eric B and Rakim. It's not
Yeah,
that.
okay. No.
It's some other stuff going on. But what I find is sometimes when I listen to that and I hear the harshness of the words,
Mm-hmm.
I feel something different. Sometimes I feel a little bit, especially if I'm driving, I
Yeah.
feel more aggressive.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm speeding up, I'm
You
driving
weaving,
fast,
right?
I'm weaving, I'm trying to, bobbing and doing the
Right.
most.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say what you feed your brain, that self talk will come out of you and it affects the people around you. So for the
It does.
caregivers that are taking care of your loved ones with autism, how you react towards them,
Right.
they can feel that.
Ah.
Which is another reason why I say having mental strength and working on your mindset is key. And when you have those setbacks, that's
Yeah.
when resiliency comes in, right?
It comes in,
You
right.
just you just bounce back. Okay, I had that moment. Let me dust off and
Right.
get myself together. So totally agree with you on the self-care. It's more than an outer part.
It
It's also
is.
mental as
It's
well.
it's the inside as well. And see, we forget that taking care of this. I mean, look, if all of this is all pretty, it really doesn't matter because this, right, really carries us. One of the other things I want to add real quick too, as you were talking about the music, is also watching our language. And so what I mean by watching our language is making the difference between reactive and proactive language. So, for example, you may have doctor's appointments, or as you shared, some of the struggles, or maybe taking care of your child, doing this and that. We say so. Reactive language says, "I got to take them to the doctor." Right? That sounds like, oh, it's a judge. I got to do this thing. And then proactive language would rephrase it. I have the opportunity to take them to the doctor. I am going to take so and so to the restroom. Not, I got to take them to the restroom. So you see how it even changes there's research that says even how we talk even changes our brain chemistry when we get out of the reactive type of language. I got to do this. I have to, right? I have to take them to the bathroom. Rather, I choose, or I am going to take so and so to the bathroom.
Right. Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So what comes out of our mouth is a reflection of kind of like what we feel.
Right. I have, and imagine I have the opportunity to um, read your book. Not, I got to read your book.
Because you know what? When you do it the reactive way, that was a good example. You feel pressure. Like if I say, I got to read this book, in the back of my mind, I'm feeling like somebody's pushing me from the back to
You need
my
to do it.
girl, you need to go read that book. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get that. So the last letter in rest
Yes.
is a T. Talk to us about the T.
T is time. time, and not necessarily just looking at the clock kind of time, but how you spending your time. And my tier's time with God. And I say to individuals, however you can find your time, I know everybody's situation is different. If you can find 5 minutes, if you can find 10 minutes, you got 2 minutes sitting in the car, in the garage before you go in. You got to find some type of quiet time with God. And I guarantee, I tell a lot of people, if you say, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes in meditation. And a lot of people say, I don't know if I can be quiet that much. And when you start trying it, then you're like, I want 10 minutes. I want 12 minutes. And so learning how to, here's a couple things, spending time so that we can be rejuvenated and that we can hear. And I'm sure you can attest, you're moving, you are moving, and moving again, constantly. That's why I tell people, don't stress out. Whatever your situation is whatever your situation. I was talking with a lady who's a caregiver of a spouse, and it was similar, like, I don't know how to snatch a bit of time. And I said, well, go sit on the porch. And she said, you know what, that's good. And she said, well, I'm starting to sit on the porch in the evening and just steal a couple of moments. Whatever you can do. Some people like to do it in the morning, early morning. I am not an early morning person. I just don't move right. I got to do better. But in the evening is my time. So however you snatch that time when the kids are down, or if you have a lunch break, you go sit in your car. But it is very, very important for us, especially, my goodness, in this world that we live in. It constantly is bombarding with messages and foolishness on social media, all this stuff. We've got to get to the point where we can literally still our bodies. And I tell people it's going to be a challenge to literally sit still. It's a challenge.
Yeah. It's no different than like with Jasmine and Coleman sometimes. It is a challenge for them to sit still because, like you said, they don't sit with themselves. I think, like for me, my brain is always racing on everything that I have to do, that it distracts me from sitting with myself. And so, one of the questions I have for you, but I feel like you answered it, are what are some specific spiritual practices? And I said spiritual, I did not say religious, because
That's right.
with spiritual, when you said you can sit with yourself in quiet, you can meditate, you can listen to something positive. All those things would be examples of spiritual practices that caregivers can do. I think, in maintaining a strong connection, it allows you to sit in that moment and to connect with yourself. Because I think as caregivers, and we're so busy taking care of someone else, we tend to disconnect from who we are as a person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And then time goes on. You're like, who am I? What do I like? 10, 15, 18, 20 years have gone down the road where you've poured yourself, nothing wrong with it, poured yourself into your children. But then it's like, well, my goodness, let me strengthen myself spiritually, mentally, physically, because you're still a person, you're still a parent, but you're still an individual, right? And let me add this, even before we go, something that is really good for me is a gratitude journal. A gratitude journal. I don't care if it's a sticky note. Most of us use our phones for things now, and I know I can put it in the phone and I won't lose it, right? But even if it's just, my baby sat down today for 5 minutes, put that in the gratitude journal.
Yeah.
My son came in today, just gonna go in my gratitude, and he told me about biology class, and he was, I could tell he was paying attention. And I was like, okay, that's going on my gratitude journal. I was really happy.
And you know what? That's perfect. That's perfect because in part of my framework that I teach, one of the steps is celebrating wins. And I think that, so I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna go ahead and
Steal
let
it.
you know
It's yours.
that the gratitude journal is one of the tools that you can use to celebrate your wins, no matter how big or small it is. It is your win, right? So
Right.
I so love that you suggested um that tool. And I would ask, outside of just the caregivers, as for family who's on the outside looking in, and sometimes they really just they want to help, but they don't know how to help. How can they support, in your opinion, the mindset of their family member that's going through this and who's acting as a caregiver?
That's really good. You know what? I say two things: curiosity and empathy. So the family members, it's okay to be curious. And when I say ask pertinent questions, polite questions, but questions that spark curiosity. Alicia, what does this mean? And how can I learn more about this? Well, why does this happen? Right. And I always say, ask questions and be polite about the questions, because some people just kind of come off left field. That's one way that family members or friends and neighbors can ask, because honestly, sometimes we just really don't know. Just don't know. We really do need to pick up a book, but we don't. But we just don't know. So asking pertinent questions, intelligent questions, so that we can get educated. And then the second thing that family and friends can do is empathize. While we may not know everything, I can empathize with you. I can shut up and listen to you. I don't have to give solutions, but I can listen, right? And I think that's what, and you tell me, I think that's what a lot of folks want. Like, I don't need you to be the doctor. Just be quiet and listen to me sometimes.
Yeah, you're dead on with that one. You're right. Just need someone to listen. I don't need you the solution. And I'm the worst at that, because when my friends come to me and they have a problem, my mind automatically goes to, okay, what do we need to do to fix the problem? So what I've learned is a technique for me is asking, how can I, listening, but if you feel the need to help, asking the question, how can
Yeah.
I help?
How can I help? How can I support you?
How can I
How can I
support
pray for
you?
you, or whatever? And they'll say maybe it is prayer, because prayer is a powerful tool, right? Maybe the person does have the capacity to physically come and assist, or maybe I can find resources, or maybe I guess what, I got a girlfriend that went through that. Let me ask her, or whatever. But I really think, yeah, those two things, having empathy and curiosity.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, as we wrap up, for my listeners
Yes.
out there, because I like to leave you with strategies and tools that you can implement, I just want to recap the acronym
Yes.
REST, right? So, R is for remember, right?
Remember?
Remember your blessings. Your
Mm-hmm.
children are a
Or a
blessing. And
blessing.
we
And that's
reference, yep,
127, Psalm 127, verse 3.
perfect. Reference that scripture. And then E, establish boundaries.
Boundaries.
No is a sentence,
There you go.
period. Right? And then for S, self care. And we're not
Mm-hmm.
just talking about the outer,
Mm-hmm.
talking
Which is
about our,
good,
it's
right?
good.
But
Right. Right. We want to take care of the outer, but this is it just as important.
it is
And then the T is, tell me what the T is.
time,
Time.
and
That's
time
right.
with God. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Spending that
time,
time.
time. and using all these tools that she mentioned, meditation, sitting quietly,
Yes.
taking care of yourself, finding community. You can't go through this journey alone. You know,
Okay.
that's one of the reasons why I decided that, you know, early on when I was going through this journey, I was like, okay, I want to be a consultant and I want to do this and
Mm,
that and help corporations. But I listened to the Holy Spirit that said, you're not ready yet.
right.
It's more
This is
things I
what you
want you to
needed.
learn. Yes. It's more things I need you to learn. And I want to better prepare you for
Mm,
how you are going to help others through this journey and help to transform their lives. So, you know, listen to your spirit, spend that time
yes.
connecting with your spirit because it makes a difference. So, if you had to leave my listeners with a thought
Mm.
of encouragement, what would that be?
You know what I would leave them with? Here's the thing, walk in your own shoes. And what I mean by that is all of us have a path, all of us have a journey. Some people's path has a bit more rocks in it than others. Some people's path is on dirt or sand. But guess what? God gave us the shoes to walk for the journey or the path. So you got to wear your own shoes. So I want you to understand that you've been prepared for your journey of parenthood or whatever it is, right? Just as David had those 5 stones to defeat Goliath, God's giving you those stones. God's giving you whatever it is that you need in your hand to walk this journey with your children. You have it within you. So wear those shoes, whether they sandals or stilettos.
Girl, I'm going with tennis shoes, girl. I don't
There
do the
you go.
stilettos no more.
Flat.
You, I have retired the stilettos, but yeah, I get it. I get the point. That is a great point, and I want to thank you, Reverend Kristen Berry, for joining me and being my guest. This has been a great discussion. Thank you
Thank
for being a
you.
part of my community and supporting my family and giving
Oh,
me those hugs when I needed the most. It was I appreciate you.
oh,
So
I
love
appreciate
to you.
you. Delta love to you.
Delta love you. So, with that being said, thank you to my listeners for joining the Real Autism Podcast, where we share relevant, effective, actionable living strategies and solutions. And we also shared the acronym REST. Don't forget it. We'll see you next time. You can like, subscribe, share on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and I drop an episode every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So don't miss it. See you next time.